To the Right Honourable Sir Ronald Butler, His Majesty's Principal Secretary of State for War. Sir, I have the honour to inform you that at 0900 hours today, Allied forces initiated Operation Lionheart on an 18-mile front extending from Pickering to Gromont. Earlier reports indicate successful attainment of all primary objectives. British, Commonwealth and American forces now occupy strategic positions from which they will launch Phase 2 of the operation. Stiff opposition was encountered in the Gromont area, where units of the Green Howards have been engaged in fierce house-to-house fighting. The United States 8th Army Air Force has maintained concentrated attacks on industrial centres. A number of aircraft have been lost, but eyewitness accounts suggest that many aircrew survived. Enemy air activity over Britain has been slight, and intelligence gathered from captured Luftwaffe aircrew confirms that such activity was not a response to Operation Lionheart. Reports from France indicate a marked increase in German counter-espionage activity, resulting in the arrest of several senior French agents. On the home front, civil defence personnel maintain exemplary devotion to duty. I commend the invaluable work of the Home Guard in maintaining security throughout Newtondale, thus releasing regular troops for service elsewhere. The impetus of Operation Lionheart has been sustained by regular passenger and freight railway schedules maintained by civilian staff. Our principal objective is to illustrate the vital service rendered by the British railway system under war conditions. Operation Lionheart will prove a worthy memorial to the railway men and women of this beleaguered island. I have the honour to remain, sir, your obedient servant, Ivan R. Baker, Colonel, Allied Forces Movement Control. A cold, sunny autumn morning in 1943, the fifth autumn since the outbreak of war. The market town of Pickering in Yorkshire's North Riding is playing host to British and American forces here to take part in extensive military exercises on the North Yorkshire moors. To mark the occasion, a military parade has been organised by Northern Command, the salute to be taken by the Lady Chairman of Rydale District Council, seen here being welcomed by an officer of Northern Command and a representative of the London and North Eastern Railway. A marching band heads the procession, and the townsfolk are treated to the stirring sight of marching troops accompanied by numerous military vehicles. British and American servicemen and women from their respective Army, Navy and Air Forces are well represented and are warmly received by the town's citizens. Members of the local branch of the British Legion, displaying their standards, also share the saluting base with military and civic dignitaries. Army dispatch riders head the column of vehicles, which includes variously equipped jeeps. Then come heavier troop carriers. A local shopkeeper comes out and cheekily asks, "Any nylons, chum?" The victory sign. Light armoured vehicles are included in the parade. A massive amphibious duck, DUKW, is one of the more unusual vehicles. The letters stand for D, the model year 1942, U, an amphibian, K, all-wheel drive, and W, dual rear axles. Now you know, it's not a military secret anymore. A smart salute for our cameraman, and through him for the folks back home, from an American medical officer. Smoky exhaust of the massive duck envelops a German Kübelwagen. A vehicle captured by the Allies on some distant battlefield, now pressed into service as an Allied vehicle. Hundreds of onlookers line the streets on both sides to display their deep affection and pride for the members of the armed forces. When the invasion of Fortress Europe takes place one day in the future, these are the uniformed men and women who will be sharing the front line to defeat the enemy. Here comes an RAF ambulance, a reminder of the cost of modern warfare. The lengthy procession heads for the railway station where troops will entrain to transport to the moors. The sudden influx of a large military contingent imposes additional strains upon railway staff already reduced in numbers due to the call-up. Are two members of the ATS RTOs, Railway Transport Officers, who will greatly assist civilian staff in their duties. A veteran comes at the end of the column. The parade is over, but the memory will linger in this little market town.
vendredi 24 octobre 1943. Tôt ce matin, Gabrielle et moi sommes montés à bord du train en partance de Paris. Nous portions chacune une petite valise contenant un transmetteur radio pour envoyer des informations à nos interlocuteurs espions en Angleterre.
Friday, 24th of October 1943. In the early hours, Gabrielle and I boarded the train from Paris. Each of us had a little suitcase containing a radio transmitter which was to be used to send back information to our spymasters in England. In September 1943, British intelligence learned that a German panzer division was being refitted in the part of France where I had lived. Gabrielle and I were to be parachuted in to make contact with the local resistance. So to that morning in October 1943 when Gabrielle and I boarded the train from Paris. We pretended to be travelling separately. Gabrielle was to get off alone at Levisham station. I would get off further along the line and work my way back by road. Safer that way. It lessened the chance of both being caught if anything went wrong, as it did. It so happened that the 116th Panzer Grenadier Regiment had moved its headquarters to Levisham. All German troops had been alerted to expect resistance agents trying to get into that area. I'm convinced that, not for the first time, we were betrayed. It happens. Of course we should have known something was wrong. The armed guards on the train were checking everyone's identity papers twice. Teutonic efficiency.
Les choses tournent mal. Le 116e régiment de grenadiers Panzer avait muté ses quartiers généraux jusqu'à Levisham. Toutes les troupes allemandes avaient été alertées et s'attendaient à voir des agents de la résistance tenter de pénétrer cette région. Pour ma part, je suis convaincue que nous avons été trahis.
Looking back after all these years, I suppose that Gabrielle should have waited to see if anyone else was getting off at Levisham. As they say, there's safety in numbers. Instead, she was the only one. As soon as she stood up and moved to the door, she became conspicuous, a pretty young woman on her own. That was enough to attract the attention of any soldier. But then there was that suitcase. I couldn't do a thing. Had to sit there while they opened her case but of course, found the radio. She was very brave, tried to bluff it out with the guards. Even, God knows how she managed it, turned on the charm. You know, the innocent victim of a terrible mistake. But it was no use. Me, I think I'd have pretended I wasn't getting off. Walked on down the train, shut myself in the toilet until we were past Levisham. But it's easy to be wise after the event. And Gabrielle was a seasoned agent. Overconfident, perhaps? I think not. Our instructors had warned us about that. So maybe she felt obliged to obey her instructions to the letter, whatever the risk. I watched them take her away. We'd been told what to expect, but when it's happening before your eyes... I never saw her again. Later, I learned that she had been taken to Paris, tortured by the Gestapo and then shot. Her body was buried in an unmarked grave. Amazingly, the record of her interrogation survives. There it is in meticulous detail. Signed, countersigned, rubber-stamped. How they loved their rubber stamps. She had died without uttering a single word about her work or the people she worked for. She was a true patriot of France. They marched her off the train and proudly showed the radio to a lieutenant. After the war, she was awarded the Croix de Guerre posthumously for her bravery. I was privileged to be present when General de Gaulle presented the medal to her husband.
Een moment. Heer Blijven. Ah, hey Leute. Hier, omhoog even.
When she knew it was hopeless, she tried to run. I thought they'd shoot her there and then, but she didn't get far. Those smart Paris shoes. Absolutely in character, but no use for running.
This medal, the Croix de Guerre, is awarded posthumously to Madame Gabrielle Céleste Townsend for her bravery in making a supreme sacrifice for her president and her country. France is proud of her young men and women who risked their lives to return to a homeland occupied by the oppressor and continue the fight against the unrelenting enemy. Pray, monsieur, accept this medal on behalf of your late wife, our late comrade. Vive la République! Vive la France! Following the landing at Salerno on the western coast of Italy, Allied forces finally break out of their bridgehead and head inland. This area has experienced heavy fighting, with fierce resistance from German troops. So rapid is the breakout that, at a railway station in a village just beyond the Allied bridgehead, German troops are subjected to a sudden and unexpected attack. The few Italian civilians and station staff flee at the first sounds of gunfire. For several minutes, both sides exchange a fierce flurry of shots at almost point-blank range. At such close quarters, there are heavy casualties on both sides. The speed and surprise of the British attack wins the day, and the station is quickly taken over to await the arrival of the main force. Passengers and railway staff at Gromont Station in North Yorkshire are pleasantly surprised at the unexpected appearance of a senior government minister. Sir Ronald Butler, His Majesty's Principal Secretary of State for War, has made an informal trip to the region to inspect troops taking part in the military exercise on the nearby moors. Accompanied by his military advisors, the Minister meets the Colonel in charge of Allied Forces Movement Control, and before boarding the Pullman train for lunch, inspects a guard of honour. The Minister is most interested in the soldiers, specially chosen from the garrison troops, and chats briefly with each of the men. The Minister is most heartened by the generous hospitality given by the local populace to members of the armed forces undergoing their training for future action. He is then joined on the train by his wife, Lady Butler, and their daughter, the Honourable Emma Butler, a second subaltern in the Auxiliary Territorial Service.
I trust you will give good advice to the Secretary of State for War, as one of his advisors. I'm sure you will.
No military personnel on this train, please. No military personnel on this train, and this train is full.
When we go on this
In the guards van? Yes, it's the guards van, right, yeah.
Lady Butler's mother, the Dowager Lady Edith, was also included in the party. Arousing 3 cheers by the crowd for the Minister makes a fitting conclusion to his brief visit.
der verantwortliche Person der 2. Kampagne des 115. Panzergrenadierregiments, der zur 116. Panzerdivision gehört. Wir hatten Befehl, das Chalon-sur-Marne-Gebiet als Reservenpanzerverband zu erreichen. Zwar waren wir für irgendeinen Einfallversuch der Alliierten ganz bereit.
I was in charge of the 2nd Company of the 156th Panzer Grenadier Regiment, attached to the 116th Panzer Division. We had been ordered to the Chalon-sur-Marne area, east of Paris, as a reserve panzer unit in readiness for an attempted invasion of the Pas-de-Calais by the Allies. Our only visible presence was a field post established as a railway station of Le Vichon, with a small token encampment nearby. Tanks, armored vehicles and equipment were well dispersed and concealed within the forest that lies along this valley. We could, if so ordered, be at the Pas-de-Calais within a few hours. While the main task force flew along Dogleg to Berlin, we were part of a diversionary force heading for a factory complex at Stuttgart. Over the target, 10/10 cloud cover meant we couldn't see the target, so we had to jettison the bomb load. Despite the overcast, the flak over the target area was pretty heavy, but it was coming back when we got jumped by just about every fighter in the Luftwaffe. They tore the heart out of our squadron, the low squadron in the rearmost formation, the position known as Purple Heart Corner, because this was where we always took the most casualties in ships and crews. The airplane on our port side, the Texas Rose, took some bad hits. Her nose got blown off, 2 engines burned, and she started down. That weekend, the fall of 43, was a real bad one for the 8th Air Force. We had a lot of empty bunks at our base that night. An American bomber crew bailed out on a Saturday morning and following their landing near the station were captured by our soldiers.
Not to make it. Major, you'll have to get up. Come here,
Alright, yeah, that's good. Ow, what, with my hand here?
All the time. They're not combat.
Another?
Weapons, quick. Very well. Go on, get him out, get him out. Oh, come on. Swing it down. Station.
Watch this step.
That's good, Dave. Yeah, stood up.
What I wanted to do. Well, no, with these lights, haven't they?
That is more than you deserve. Okay, we carry him. Go! Schultz! Schultz! Hey, Spike!
A group of foreign journalists had been permitted to visit the station that weekend to see our little field post. The propaganda ministry deemed it clever to allow the foreign press into our area, thus dispelling any idea that we might have something to hide.
Don't give him first aid, let him die. Yeah. Keep him there.
Careful!
Where are you from?
American. Micah, T. 33, 44, 55, 66.
Don't go up. Where are you from?
America.
0257 118.
A medical train to evacuate you as soon as possible. Then, non-cooperation will be noted. You will be interrogated by people more suited than us.
There was a train coming through that afternoon bound for Switzerland with a British Army medical team aboard caring for wounded Allied prisoners of war being repatriated.
Bring them back down. Put them on the stage.
Swiss Red Cross area director accompanied the journalists. So to get everybody out of the area quickly, we handed the Americans over to the Swiss Red Cross.
Do you to come in, please?
Sure you?
Thank you, sir.
As an officer of the German army, I can guarantee they will be looked after.
That pleases me.
Now, we'll have to check. They are. They say they are.
Yes, sir. For you, sir.
My cup of tea.
And will you please see that each prisoner has these attached to his son, his person. And I want them to have very good treatment, sir, on the train.
They will be.
Zahl auf den Podiumkopf angesetzt worden, haben den Gegner mit diesem Kriege kennenlernten. Aus den Trümmern.
What's going on here? You goons, that's what's going on. Yeah.
Leave that on. Do not touch this man. Do not touch this man.
Pig! Yankee? Well clear the edge, please. Well clear, please.
Calm down. Calm down.
Further off the ground.
Calm down.
You feel like you're swimming a little bit. Pain's going to start. Turning it.
Out of way.
High pitch. Unit is 90 first bomb.
Don't you stand still.
Religion. Okay. Return on that. Still on that. Double 3, double 4, double 5, double 6. I spell it. MY, C90 first bomb. We're all in trouble.
CV. Is he?
Yeah. Keith walking. Keith, you're one embrace.
I'm not taking it.
It's all right. Follow.
I didn't see him.
How is this leg?
He's got
Very
some.
bad.
He's had some bits of shrapnel in it.
Yes. Oh, he's not in a very good condition, is he? He's not in a very good way.
When the train finally arrived in Switzerland, the Swiss authorities permitted an American medical team from the American embassy to pick up the United States airmen and take them to a Swiss internment camp.
Get out of the way!
And they said there was...
Sharp there, come on!
Clear the way.
Steady, steady.
Keep clear of the gate, please.
Clear the way, please!
Just straight up. Right, somebody take the...
Come on, wait, no, you Get away. Come on, love.
Put this one in.
So to a different battlefield and the surgeon's knife, a fight to save rather than take a life. The unrelenting heartbeat of the hours stretches through weeks to months and months to years. The Major eventually recovered from his wounds and together with his surviving crew remained interned for the duration of the war. During that time he and Anna von Brock developed a deep friendship. After the war ended, the Major was returned to the United States, but 3 months later came back to Switzerland to marry the woman who helped save his life. The unrelenting heartbeat of the hours stretches through weeks to months and months to years, yet still we may hear the laughter, still we may see the tears. We who remain have so much to recall with pride and so much to regret. The wise will make us remember, the fools will let us forget.